But that the shooter, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, apparently went in there with a handgun and a rifle. We heard reports first off that he was going to the outside of the school and that he started shooting first in the parking lot. Those apparently turned out not to be true. Now we're being told he made his way inside the school and started opening fire there. As far as the question that you asked, Jesse, earlier about school security, all through Texas there are high schools, there are some middle schools with school security. It's a rare occurrence when you have SROs, when you have school resource officers at elementary schools. And kind of going back to Geraldo's point there, talking about Sandy Hook, when you go back to Sandy Hook, remember that we have at the bottom of your screen, you can see there, 14 children dead, 1 teacher has been confirmed. These numbers in these types of school shootings always change, and horrifically they always change for the worse. The numbers tend to go up. If you go back to Sandy Hook, there were 26 and 7-year-olds who were killed in that shooting, along with 6 or 7 adults in that shooting. That's when Adam Lanza, which is the weirdest correlation, went and first killed his mother, and then he went to Sandy Hook and he opened fire and he killed all those elementary school students and then the adults who tried to save those students. So if the numbers change here, this could already be the 3rd worst school shooting in the history of the United States. If the numbers change here, really not much in any direction, this could become the worst school shooting in the history of the United States. And keep in mind that the lion's share of the victims in this case are, like Sandy Hook, elementary school children. We should point out, if there is any bright light in all of this, which there is none, if you go to San Antonio, which is 90 miles up the road, you will find a level 1 children's hospital there. So the 2 children who were brought there, we have learned in our experience, if you bring children level 1 trauma center, they have an outstanding chance to live. So that is good news. But you look at the size of this town. We're talking 15,000, right? 15,000 people live in this town. They don't have the resources to handle something like this. So this was an all hands on deck, not just in Uvalde. This was an all hands on deck thing from San Antonio and every surrounding vicinity that has a fire department and a police department. And when you get on scene, we have been to these in Columbine, which attracted, sources from Denver and all around there. You have to have coordination, so it's kind of hectic in the early going. You go through the school, you check every closet, you check every attic, you check every room by room, and the kids all have to walk out with their hands up because they are all considered suspects. In an elementary school, it's a different format, but it's the basic theory, the basic protocol that you go through when these types of things happen. And finally, I just want to add that when you talk about these types of scenarios, you have the shooter who apparently turned the gun on himself, and that would change the investigation, but it doesn't change the fact that you somehow have to go in there and get, without knowing who's in there, you have to go in and get the wounded out. You've got to get them on either life flight helicopters or in ambulances and get them out as quickly as possible. And as you learn days after these shootings, those seconds, those minutes are an eternity for the kids who need that help, and they need it. They need it so fast. Jesse.
Thank you so much, Trace. Let's now listen to some sound from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He spoke momentarily. Let's hear it.
The shooter was Salvador Ramos, an 18-year-old male who resided in Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher. Mr. Ramos, the shooter, he himself is deceased. And is believed that responding officers killed him.
So, Judge Janine, it was interesting that you picked up on the fact that the car was left there before he went into the school, and then it turns out There was a domestic situation where he ended up killing a family member, possibly his grandmother.
Well, it seems that he was trying to escape. Although we're all look, this is a fluid situation in any kind of shooting like this or any criminal act of this nature. Everything is going to change. The facts are going to change. But if he drove to this school, you have to wonder, why did he drive to this school? What is the connection? What time did this happen? Do we know what time it happened? Elementary school. 12, 17. And how old are the kids in an elementary school, guys?
K through 5, maybe?
Tops.
So
Tops would be 10 years old.
Single-digit
six to
ages.
10.
Single digits?
6 to 10.
They're telling me single digits, maybe to 9, whatever. The bottom line is this. There was a reason that he went into this school. There is something connected in terms of his family, his history, or the argument that's connected to that school.
Well, I don't know anything about him, but I know that there are families that'll never be the same. And it should not be an occupational hazard of an elementary school student to go to school and for this to happen to them. And I really hope people don't speculate, don't jump to their usual political conclusions, don't call for these sweeping, massive changes while people are grieving. And it sounds.
We are going to jump away from Fox News Channel for just a second. There's a news conference going on. Bill Malugin down there on the border referenced one that would happen locally at the Civic Center not far from that school. This obviously is police, and let's get an update from them on site.
Families are being notified, and we are providing services to them as the district should. As far as the rest of the district is concerned, safety measures were taken to make sure that we had a safe release for the rest of the district. Throughout our city of Uvalde, and we had numerous law enforcement officers and agencies that assisted with the safety release for those students. We do want to keep all our families in their prayers. I hope you do as well. And we also want to respect the privacy of the family. Everything is still being worked on, and again, we'll notify the parents and the families as soon as we have some news for them. Thank you so much.
We greatly appreciate your understanding and patience with us. Please know at this time, we are only making a statement. We will be releasing more information as the investigation continues. We appreciate your courtesy. At this time, it concludes our press conference. Thank you.
So there you have it. A very brief press conference down there in Uvalde, Texas at the Civic Center, updating parents, anybody else who might be listening down there and now nationwide as to what is the status of children in that school that did survive. Just the brief facts as we know them right now. And again, this is all happening live, but we do know, confirmed 14 children dead at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The shooter came in somewhere around noon today. It is a person that has now been identified as an 18-year-old Salvador Ramos. He walked in with what we believe was a handgun and possibly a rifle and shot 14 students and one teacher. There are other injured individuals as well, other students injured. We believe other adults injured as well. That suspect also dead tonight. We don't know whether it was self-inflicted or whether law enforcement may have taken him down during the process of taking care of this as it was occurring. We want to go back to Fox News now. Again, this is in Uvalde, Texas. Robb Elementary School, 14 students dead, one teacher dead, the shooter confirmed dead. We're following it minute by minute. Let's take you back to Fox News Channel now for the very latest as they're viewing it.